What's up, guys? It's the Brazilian Fellas with MACkiteboarding, and the odds are you've been launching your kite incorrectly. Today, we're gonna teach you how to safely launch your kite. Stay tuned. All right, guys, we've got the hypermodel from Reading ready to go with a cabrina bar. And the first thing you wanna do once you pump up your kite is to secure it with some sand. As you can see, the kite is moving because there's so much wind, which is not good. And also you can tell how much the kite is flapping. Flapping of the canopy is the worst thing for your kite. So the first thing you wanna do is to actually get a handful of sand and prevent that flapping from occurring, as well as securing your kite from moving downwind. And now, once your kite is nice and secure, you're ready to start walking your lines. We always recommend you to walk your lines downwind of the kite. This makes more sense, especially when the wind is nuking. But beyond that, it's also going to allow you to make sure that there's no tangles between your lines and the bridles. One trick that we like doing here in Brazil that is super convenient is by basically placing all 4 lines on the ground and putting some sand on it to prevent the lines from running loose once you start walking them. Once you've secured your lines, you can start dropping them and walking downwind with them until you get to the end of the lines. With this cabrina bar, you actually want the black on the right once you have the kite in the air. Because we've rigged the lines downwind, we actually want to invert the bar and have the logo facing down. So we actually want the black on the left because we've walked the lines downwind. All right, so now that you've placed your bar down in the correct orientation, you want to place your feet in between your outside lines and your center lines. Once you do that, you can then start walking up through the lines, making sure that your center lines are getting untangled from your outside lines. Once you get to your kite, your next job is to drop these lines. Drop the outside lines and then each one of the center lines, making sure that they're not getting tangled. At this point, you should be able to look downwind and you should be able to see that there's no tangles between your center lines and your outside lines. Once you've walked your lines, you made sure that they're nice and clear, you're now ready to attach your bar lines to your kite. Before you attach it, make sure that it is nice and free without any major tangles. This is the only knot that is acceptable in kitesurfing, and this is what's going to allow you to connect your bar to your kite. Once you've made the knot, it is really important to make sure that it is nice and tight. There should not be any room on the back of your knot. This is really crucial because otherwise you risk this knot coming loose and your kite flying away. Once you make it back to your bar, you might be tempted to connect both your chicken loop and your donkey stick to your harness hook, but don't. This is one of the worst mistakes you can do because as you walk up towards the edge of the window, the lack of tension on the lines might lead your chicken loop and your donkey stick coming undone and letting your kite go loose. Instead, what we want you to do is to simply connect your safety leash to your safety line and hold on to your chicken loop as you walk up towards the edge of the window. This is a way better system because it's going to allow you to keep a hold of the kite without risking your chicken loop coming undone. Another really important step that is often overlooked by most people is to pull your safety line a few meters out before you launch your kite. This is to make sure that there are no debris inside of your PU tubes. They're going to prevent your safety system from working. This is absolutely crucial, and we recommend you to do this each and every time you launch your kite. Once you follow all these steps, it is now time to find the edge of the window so you can safely launch your kite. The easiest way to do this is by walking upwind and to stop as soon as your kite stops flapping. Once your kite stops flapping, it is now time to stop. Do not continue to walk upwind because this is going to put an enormous amount of pressure on your assistant. As you can see, my dad is having a hard time holding on to the kite because I've walked way too far upwind. So don't do this. Find a sweet spot and stay here because you're now ready to launch the kite. Once I've found the edge of the window, I am finally ready to connect my chicken loop and my donkey stick. This is a much safer procedure because it's going to prevent your chicken loop from ever coming undone. I am now ready to give a thumbs up. Once he lets go of the kite, make sure to bring it up nice and slowly. This is going to make sure that you have done a really nice and safe launch. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Make sure to subscribe to MACKite's YouTube channel and to follow the Brazilian brothers on Instagram. I'm now going back in the water, but I'll see you in the next video. Yee-hee!